Okay, so for the next part of this video series, we're going to check out making a dirty Melbourne Bounce style lead sound. So we have our elements from earlier on, and now we have this MIDI file from the pack, which I've added alongside, and we just got a basic Spire playing a default sawtooth wave. Okay, so let's set about making this into a dirty style Melbourne Bounce lead. So to start with, what we're going to do is we're going to change the waveform here to be a vocal 5. The wavetable mix, I'm going to move kind of about 11 o'clock, which means we get a blend of a sawtooth wave and this vocal 5 waveform. Now I want to have a nice consistent attack to the note, so what I'm going to do is bring the phase up so it starts from the same point of the cycle every time. Okay, let's introduce some glide. So I'm going to put it on mono 1 so the notes will glide when I bring up the glide amount here. Just going to loop the first part of this. It works better for this idea. So next up we're going to come up to our phaser. Similar as for the high part of the bass, we're going to add this to a val mid setting. Bring the dry wet all the way to the top. We're actually going to use a bit of modulation on this. It sounds better in the lower octaves, so just going to pitch that down on the octave setting here. So next up we're going to come to this X comp again. So as I said before, this is like a multi-band kind of transient shaper style effect. It just brings out the snap of the sound. It's really cool. And next we're going to add an EQ. So I'm going to boost all the way to the top and just pick out a nice area to boost. Let's use a bit of a narrower Q. Okay, so next up I'm going to come down and use my F expansion more once again. And this is such an important part of the sound. Use my soft setting again. What I've done there is really boosted and distorted the mid and high frequencies on here to really bring out those upper harmonics. Next up, let's bring in an EQ. What I'm going to do is remove the low frequencies that we don't need because we're getting them from the kick and the bass. Let's give it a bit of mid-range, or sorry, low-mid kind of presence. Cut a bit of the kind of 500 hertz area. Let's bring out a little bit of the kind of upper mids. take out some of the really high frequencies. And this helps remove any really harsh frequencies we might get, and also we can kind of create a bit of space for any ride cymbals and stuff like that we might be bringing in later. So obviously a big part of this sound is going to be the good old side chain. So we'll come up to LFO tool. So from here we can go through and tweak some of these parameters. We play around with the distortion, different positions of where we distort the signal. We've got a nice dirty Melbourne Bounce lead sound. Now finally, just to add a bit of interest to the sound, I've got a reverb set up on this bus. This is my Valhalla reverb here. And what I've done is place an LFO tool afterwards so the reverb will pump along with the track as well. Bring up some level. Helps place that lead sound in a little bit of a space.